What guys? The Bench Buddies are back with my Week 15 MLB Power Rankings. We got two teams tied for moving up the most this week. It's going to be the Rangers and the Cubs after some dominant weeks. They are both moving up 7 spots, while the Rangers division opponent in the Seattle Mariners is moving down 8 spots after just a brutal week after we thought this team had finally turned a corner. But we'll take a look at the American League standings. Rays jump the Yankees here, which hasn't happened since May, and they're back ahead of the Yankees by a 1 game lead here. Good for the Rays staying in this thing as they've slowed down a little bit, but keeping pace with the Yankees. Now I think we really see with them without Judge, this team is starting to struggle a little bit as obviously they got swept by the Red Sox here. We're still in last place in the division, but only 5 games out of the playoffs, I believe. And then the two teams mixed in there, the Blue Jays and the Orioles, both with bad weeks, and they're not making it any easier on themselves here. But the American League, I don't even know who's going to make the playoffs at this point besides the Rays and the Yankees. Everybody else has a shot in my eyes, including the Royals, Tigers, and Angels. But in the AL Central, all those teams still have a good chance to win the division. Even the Tigers and Royals included, with how bad they are playing and how they have been playing all year, there's still a chance for that to happen. White Sox are only 4 games above 500, along with the Guardians. They are both 4 games above 500. Twins are 5 games under 500. Tigers 14 and 15 under are the Royals, but they're not out of it for a wild card standpoint. They are, I think, 8 games out of the wild card. Royals 9, and one good week, if you go 6-1 one week, I mean, you're probably jumping at least 3 teams here with how inconsistent all these teams have been. That goes for the AL West too. I mean, 2 weeks ago, Astros looked out of it, pretty close to where the Angels are, and then they have caught fire here these last 2 weeks, and they're only a game back in the division because they've just had 2 more losses than the Rangers. But Rangers are leading this division at 500. Mariners are a half game out after having just 1 more loss. Like I mentioned, the Astros are right there. The A's are only 4 back there as they're only 4 under 500. Then the Angels, they are 8.5 back in this division, but still contending for the wild card as they still have a chance too. But more than likely, I think we're really going to start to see the fall off here right before the All-Star break of which teams are hoping to fix it maybe in the week and a half here that we have left. And after the All-Star break, we're going to see the teams that are going to start to sell and give up on the year. Then moving to the National League, much more parity here in the National League. You got the NL East just dominating right now. Braves are on, well, they were on fire, but leading the NL East here over the Phillies as the Phillies have caught up here ever since they, fired Rob Thompson. This team's been the best team in baseball. Marlins just keep on winning in June. Nationals are playing some really good baseball. And just when we thought the Mets maybe have a chance to get competitive, it was an ugly series last weekend. The NL Central, the Cubs took that series 2 out of 3 games to get a game on the Brewers, but they're down 5 in this division. 5.5? Do we think the Cubs are going to be 5.5 end of July, August? Or is it going to be over? Are they going to be 8 games back? Or are they going to be 2 games back with it to go? The pitching is going to be the problem there for the Cubs. Cardinals, they look like a wild card team, if we're going to be honest here, the way that they're playing some baseball. And the Pirates and Reds, these two teams I think are just the same teams, just one has a better record with how the Pirates have played. The NL West, I mean, Dodgers are going to win that yet again, but Padres and Diamondbacks looking to stay afloat in the wild card race. And then you have the Giants and Rockies rounding it out at the bottom, like we kind of expected this year. 26 through 30. I mean, as a Tigers fan, I think I might pronounce them dead this week on today, which is June 28th. I'm going to pronounce the Tigers dead. Trade deadline. Scooble's gone. Torres is gone. Mize is gone. Flaherty's gone. Jansen's probably gone. So Tigers are along with the Mets. They might be throwing in the towel here. Rockies obviously are throwing in the towel. It's gonna be rough. Gonna be rough for those 3 teams. Reds and Orioles right there mixed in at 27 and 28. Still have a fighting chance, but they've just played so bad here and so inconsistent that it's tough. I mean, even the Reds getting a series win in Pittsburgh, I still moved them down 6 because it felt like they didn't really win the series. They just kind of just coasted because the Pirates played really bad in that series. So that's kind of why I have all these teams here in the bottom 5. The bottom 10 is going to be the Angels, Red Sox, Twins, Giants, Royals. Royals move up 3 spots, splitting with the Rays and losing a tough series in Chicago. Showed some promise there. Giants won both their series against the A's and the Braves at home, so of course I'm moving them up. Twins, he played the Dodgers, had a chance to win a few of those games, just couldn't get it done. Did beat Colorado in a series. Obviously, that Friday night game was an epic game where they did blow a huge lead, but they walked it off in the 10th. And they go to Houston and the Yankees this week. It's a big road trip here for the Twins if this team wants to be a serious contender here before the All-Star break. Red Sox, we thought they were kind of dead going into that Yankee series, but not only did they win the series, they swept the Yankees at home, giving them some life before the All-Star break as they look to turn it around and hopefully get closer to 500. Angels, same thing. They're beating teams that they should beat at home. They're taking care of business at home. They go to Seattle this week, maybe could get a few games back on Seattle and possibly bolt up the leaderboard there in the AL West. And then they actually play those Red Sox here at home, and which should be a very good series between the two teams. 16 through 20, here you find your biggest drop in the Seattle Mariners, moving down 8 spots, losing at Pittsburgh on the road, losing in Cleveland on the road. Both those teams are struggling right now, and that includes the Mariners, even worse, but they do get rewarded with the Angels coming to town and the Blue Jays in town. They definitely need to win those 2 series here to rebound, get back in the AL West run, because no one's really trying to pull away from it. If the Mariners go 5-1 this week, we're probably going to throw them right back in the top 10 with how bad the AL West has been. Pirates 17 beat those Mariners, lost in the series to the Reds. Both those teams moving down even after a series victory. And the Pirates have it right in front of them here, a tough week for them as they go to Philly for 4 and then play in Washington for 3. Could be a rough week for Pittsburgh if they don't play their cards right here in managing that awful, awful bullpen. Diamondbacks move up 1 after winning in St. Louis, getting swept in Tampa. Not a good look there, going to Tampa, but they do return home against the Giants before a big weekend series against the Brewers. A's at 19, coasting along at this point. I thought they were definitely going to win both those series and go the other way, maybe be 44-40, but that's just not the case. I don't know. This A's team, I want to believe, but now you got the Dodgers and the Marlins coming to town, and you're already 4 under 500. A's really got to step it up here these last 2 weeks before the All-Star break if this team wants to contend. Then the Blue Jays, right when I thought they had it all right in front of them, coming back from the dead, they fall right back on their feet, fall right off their feet, right onto the ground. Only winning 1 game last week, getting swept by Texas in your own building. Houston lose that series, which, they're one of the hottest teams in baseball. Then you get the Mets coming to town early this week before you fly all the way out west to Seattle. So the Blue Jays would love to get a series win here against the Mets before they travel out west to play another mediocre team this year. Just missing the top 10 here are going to be the San Diego Padres because they're the only one, and the Texas Rangers. They're the only 2 teams moving up here in this slew of 5 teams. Nationals fall out of my top 10 after kind of getting humbled a little bit against Philly at home. And the Guardians, same thing. They lost that series on the road to Chicago, but they won the series against Seattle. Wasn't really that pretty as Seattle kind of handed them a few games there. St. Louis at 14, lost both those series at home, so they deserve to drop a few here as they go on the road for a tough road trip in Atlanta and then to the Cubs for a big divisional series. And the team to look for and watch this week is going to be the Texas Rangers. They go to Cleveland, and with the way the Rangers have went in Toronto and just go a little south, you can go to Cleveland and win that series, and then get Detroit at home, who's really been hitting the ball well, but the bullpen has been blowing games. So if you can get the Tigers in tough situations late, you're probably going to win that series. Padres, though, they're also in a bind along with the Cardinals. It was a great early week series, but now, last week, that is, sweeping the Braves. And now you go to Chicago, play the Cubs, and then you return and play the Dodgers, who you just lost to last week at home. Now you get them for 4 in their own place. So this Padres team is not helping themselves, trying to get back into the NL West race. And it could be over before it even starts in August with the way the Padres have played the Dodgers already this year. And then the Nationals in Boston, home at Pittsburgh. I expect this team to stay over 500 at this point next week. And there's still a team that can really hit the baseball. Like I said, they did get humbled against the Phillies, but they still played some good baseball. Just the Phillies are on a heater right now. Then making my top 10 It's going to be the Tampa Bay Rays. They're jumping back in here after a pretty dominant week. Yes, they split with Kansas City early, but they did get that big series win where Junior Caminero just absolutely cooked. He is on fire right now, hottest player in baseball with a bat in his hand. And not only do they play Kansas City again, they go to their city in Kansas City, hopefully can get a series win there as they go to Houston this week, which should be a big series there for both those teams, jockeying for position in the top of their divisions. White Sox at 9 move up as they take care of division foes there in three-game sets as they win two of three before they hit the road going to Baltimore and Cleveland. Take care of business. Love to see it if you're a White Sox fan. But the Cubs, unfortunately, are still the better team in Chicago right now after a huge week of confidence for me on why I can put this team in the top 10 officially. Because they went to New York and did what they're supposed to do. Finally, they took care of business. Not only after that, they rode that momentum into Milwaukee and won that series, which it feels like has been a thorn in their side this year so far. Like I mentioned, they are 5.5 back in the division, but if they can win that series against San Diego and go 4-2 this week against San Diego and St. Louis, this Cubs team might be cracking my top five again for what feels like since early April, beginning of May. So they deserve to get back up there if they can keep on winning. The Astros keep on winning, going to Toronto, going to Detroit, winning both those series. Only 2 games back of 500 right now. This is what we thought the Tigers, the Royals, Mariners, Rangers, we thought they would do. Start to go on a run here. And that's just not the case for those teams. The Astros, of all teams, are on the run as they get Minnesota early in the week at home, and then Tampa at home, which, like I mentioned earlier, is going to be a great series there on the weekend. And if Hader can lock down the ninth like he always has been, he's been great since he's returned from the IL. This Astros team just got another weapon and another deadly weapon that is. Then the Braves at 6 fall out of my top five because a week like that, yeah, you deserve to not be in the top five. I don't care what your record is. Getting swept on the road in San Diego, losing in San Francisco to one of the worst teams in baseball this year. Not a good West Coast trip there last week for them as they go 1-5, but they do return home to face the Cardinals. Maybe can get some momentum if they win that series there over a pretty good Cardinals team before the Mets come to town, which they should absolutely demolish the Mets. And if that's not the case, this team might be falling out of my top 10 if they lose that series to the Mets. Then 1 through 5, yes, that is correct. I know you looked at that Marlins logo first at number 3. I'm high on this Marlins team. Best record in June. They're on fire. I think they're 15-5, I believe it's 16-5, I believe. And I don't care about records in power rankings. It's teams you don't want to play right now. It's the Marlins. They're winning series after series. Doesn't matter who comes into town, where they're going. They're winning. They beat Texas in a series at home before they went to St. Louis, won that series. Now they go to Colorado and they go out west even further to Sacramento and play in the A's. Let's say this team wins 6 games on the road and they're 50-41. They might have a better record than the Phillies at this point next week, with Philly playing Pittsburgh and Kansas City with some good pitching there. And I don't know, this Marlins team, why not? How can you not root for the Marlins if you're not an NL East team? Your favorite team's not in the NL East. How can you not root for the Marlins at this point in the series? Same for the Nationals as well. We'll throw them in there. Teams that, normally aren't up here, and they're taking care of business when it has to be done. Xavier Edwards has been a key piece. Otto Lopez has been great. Stowers is hitting the ball now. Liam Hicks, obviously still on the IL, but huge factor this year. And Sandy doesn't look like he's going to get traded if this team keeps on playing like this. The Brewers move up one at 4 after going to Cincinnati, sweeping there, but losing the series at home against Chicago. They do get Cincinnati again this week at home before they travel out west to Arizona. The Phillies at 2, big series wins there against some divisional opponents, especially the Nationals, where they were in second place going into that series. The Phillies that were and the Nationals were in third, and kind of showed them who their big brother was in this one. Phillies 10 games above 500 now, which thought middle of April we thought we would never see that happen this year. I think they were what 9-19, 8-19, and it was bad. It looked bad, but here they are contending again, the number 2 team in my rankings. Of course, the Dodgers are at 1. I mean, is there anything really to report? They're winning series on the road. They're playing great baseball. They're doing what they have to do. Yet again, the Dodgers are probably going to pace us to the first team to 60 wins, 70 wins, 80 wins, 90 wins, and more than likely 100 wins at this point. And a team that doesn't look like they're going to get there, it's the New York Yankees. Yes, they went into Detroit and won that series, a gritty series there. But you go to Boston and get swept. It was not a good showing here. I think their last time I checked, the game was 7-0 in the eighth inning. The Tigers were beating the Yankees. So not a good start to the week already for this Yankees team. Jazz Chisholm looks like he got a concussion too. Dominguez looked like he got bruised his ribs running into the wall. It is not going the right way right now for the Yankees. Um, this would be the week where they could get some games here and make up some ground, maybe get a further lead on the Rays if they can put a few wins together, but that just doesn't look like it's going to be the case here on Monday night. That's all I got for you here, week 15. Check back next week to see where your favorite team ranks the week before the All-Star break. Till the next time, Bench Buddies are out.